What's up, crew? What's up, squad? It is December 17th, 2023. Welcome to actually, the final Ghost Clover Podcast of 2023, brought to you by our good friends over at European American Armory. We'll talk about them a little later on, and go ahead and mention, since tonight's episode will be a little bit special, it'll be a little bit different than what we've had all year long. Go ahead and mention big thanks all year long to Taurus as well, who has sponsored the viewer driven segment. We're both proud members, Ghostos of Self Defense Radio Network, anyway, myself, Firearms Radio Network. And big shout out and thanks as always to the Patreon patrons, the YouTube channel members. If you go to either one of our channel pages, scroll down to any video, whatever, you'll see the join buttons there. We both do a lot of cool stuff and definitely appreciate the support. I'm going to go ahead and bring Ghost in, and we'll kind of talk about how tonight is going to roll. Those that are out there early have a bit of a surprise tonight, I think.
Yeah, what's up, man?
Hey.
Last one of calendar year 2023. We're going to take off, a month and a half or so, maybe, depends, from now until after SHOT and all that. But we got Christmas coming up and New Year's, and then it's full blown into SHOT Show mode, and then all of that craziness that once you get back. So we're going to do a little bit something different tonight. We discussed last week that if you were here last week or listened in the last week, you'll know that all three segments are going to be viewer topics. And to kind of get away, Chloe, from people jumping in, and then by the time we draw the names being gone and we sit there for a couple minutes waiting for someone to say something, you've come up with a different way to how we're going to choose them.
Yeah, and I think we'll also do that probably in 2024 for the podcast as well, that we will be telling you what to type in the chat in order to become eligible to choose a topic. And by the way, thanks to those that do come in, they do stick around, that you are paying attention, that you are making sure you're hitting the little button and the little red dot is there and you're live and all of that, because these things do go into audio replay, and silence is absolutely killer for those folks in audio replay. They do not like it, and I'm sure you probably agree if you listen to audio podcasts. But yeah, for our first topic, and we'll give it a couple of minutes, type a 1 in the chat. For those that are out there early, type a 1 out there in the chat, and we will roll the dice, so to speak, here in just a minute or two. And whoever we pick will give us our first topic of the evening.
And if you get chosen for like topic 1 and all that, unless there's like no one else out there in the chat, that does excuse you from the next two, probably. But you might be the only one listening at that point, so still have your topics ready. So real quick, while we're doing this, do we want to talk a little bit about European American Armory? Can't make it public yet, but there's some pretty cool news coming down the line for EAA. Something that we were surprised, but not really, but surprised, But yeah, we want to say thanks to European American Armory, EAA, Chase and Keith and Paul and all those fine people, Sam and Omar and everyone over at EAA. They're great friends of both of ours personally and both of our channels, obviously. Looking forward to seeing them next month. But a big shout out to EAA. And Clover already mentioned earlier, thanks to everyone that's always here and supporting and keeping up with the live chats and all of that. We do appreciate you. But one of the ways that you can help us out as well is to go over to any of the social media, especially like Instagram or Facebook, if you're on those platforms, and go to EAA or, eaacorp, and find a post and just leave a comment and just thank them for sponsoring the Ghost and Clover podcast. It will mean a lot to us. So
that's simple. And
simple,
I'll throw out there too, again, 1 in the chat if you want to choose a topic. But yeah, I'll throw out there that I talked to actually Chase the other day. And on the Witness 2311s, um, we're very, very, very close to having the 5-inch models here,
Yeah.
and the
And
6-inch and 10 millimeter. The
the
10 millimeter
10
stuff,
millimeter will be shipping, they
is
say, next week, possibly.
very, very close. Very, very close on all of that. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Really, really cool.
So yeah, it's going to be an interesting draw here. In fact, it's not even giving me the option to draw because we have one person that has typed one in the chat. So I'm going to call it. I don't
Yep.
know why we've got people watching and nobody is typing one in the chat.
The
It
number
worries me,
one. Type the
but
number one.
the
Well,
number
actually, you
one.
know what? We're going to
What's
call it.
that?
So MC's already got the topic out there.
So we're going to call it. MC has the topic. Here we go. He says topic. He says 44 mag in tracker versus other brands fit, recoil, roll, trigger, etc. So okay, we can vamp on that. Screaming Skull Saloon come in a little late. We already called it though, buddy. For
Stick around
here.
because all three segments are going to be viewer driven. So we have two more after this. So stick around.
Yep.
And when we ask you to type that number in there, type it in there, guys.
Yep. Wait for us to give you that command, that number. Type it in, and you'll be eligible once. Yeah. So yeah, am I running with this one?
I guess so because I have zero experience with the Taurus tracker. So
Well, you can participate still
I can
somehow.
participate. Yes. I'll figure out a way
Um,
to participate.
um, I don't know. Sykes says, "Why do I not see the comments on the YouTube stream?" That's interesting.
That is interesting. I
I
don't
don't know
know.
if you're on Ghost. I don't know if you're on the Ghost and Clover, or I don't know if you're on mine. So I don't know. Maybe because nobody's typing could be part of it. Sykes. But back to MCs. Taurus 44 mag and tracker versus other brands fit, recoil, roll, trigger, etc. So I could speak to mine. It's kind of hard to speak to very many others. Um, I know that with the right grip on there, which was the topic of the latest video I did on mine, with the right grip, the recoil, the roll, it's not that bad. Uh, with the 4-inch ported barrel that's on mine, it was pretty brutal. And I'm not recoil sensitive at all, so I'm not complaining about it or anything. I'm just telling you, um, I, you know, I it, I'd be just as good off shooting like uh, dang it, what am I thinking? A 50, right? So or 500 S&W. That's what I should have said.
Yeah.
So fit and finish. It's not a Smith and Wesson. Tracker. If you know the history of Taurus, rather, Taurus had some contracts and some other stuff with Smith and Wesson back in the day, so they carry over a lot of the Smith and Wesson design. The metallurgy and some of the detail to fit and finish is just simply not there with Taurus compared to Smith and Wesson. Of course, understandably so because of the price point, you know. And typically that's what you're sacrificing with price point, right?
Yeah.
Unless a company comes up with a way that they can do just about as good as work, they can automate that process and there's less hands on that. Look at like Langdon Tactical, look at Wilson Combat, look at you're paying for somebody to sit there with your particular firearm for hours, if not days on end, right? Um, Similar even with the mass-produced Smith and Wesson stuff. There's quite a bit of hands-on and double checking tolerances and the what am I thinking? The QC department, right? As far as the trigger, comparable, I think. Again, very similar design to Smith and Wesson. Um, Now, go ahead and I guess what's another big time revolver company? I mean, I guess you could compare a little bit
A
to
Ruger? Is there
with the
anything out there
Ruger
like
stuff.
Ruger that? Yeah, I was gonna say Ruger and
Yeah,
Taurus might be on that same.
I would view Ruger and Taurus honestly pretty close.
Yeah,
And some people are going to get upset about that, but I have never seen Ruger as the pinnacle of exceptionalism in firearms.
Yeah.
With some of their stuff, maybe like maybe the old school Blackhawks, for example. If we're talking about revolvers, anyway. Um, but again, price point a little bit more on the price point side. Um, recoil wise, I think the Ruger stuff is a little bit, honestly, a little bit more on the recoil side of things. Quite honestly, uh, I will say this about a Ruger. Ruger seems to have a little better trigger to me, probably than a tracker.
Yeah.
And even a Smith and Wesson in certain things. We're talking specifically with 44 mags here and that larger style frame. So um, when we're going with something like that, I mean, unless you're getting into some custom work, custom shop Smith and Wesson, which a lot of stuff you see out there is, yeah, Ruger. I'll give that much to Ruger anyway.
Yeah, like I said, I have zero experience with Taurus Tracker. Really, I mean, most revolvers at this point, um, I have zero experience. What I will say is, I have actually shot a couple different Taurus revolvers at range days, and I don't think any of them were 44. I think they were 357 mag or 38 special or whatever.
Mm.
I can tell you from what I've shot from Taurus revolvers versus like some Smith and Wessons and other companies. Um, to me, they just don't feel quite as good. That doesn't mean that they're not good guns. Something about the ergonomics, maybe I don't know. Maybe it's what they put on the grip as far as material or textures or whatever. Um, to me, they don't feel great. That said, my experience with revolvers obviously is limited in comparison, way in comparison to Clover.
Yeah, yeah. Um, real quick, Sykes out there was saying y'all need to pick a single YouTube channel.
Yeah,
We do. It's called Ghost and Clover, and we would really appreciate those that hang out, that watch this podcast, that participate live. When you see the notification come up, whoever's channel it's on, go over to the Ghost and Clover and watch it. So
yeah,
we could care less if you watch it on our individual channels, to be quite honest with you, for the reason that you're bringing out, that you guys cannot all interact in the chat at the same time, basically,
yeah.
and uh, we unlist this on our individual channels as soon
Yep,
as we record live anyway. So
that's correct.
show a little love here at the end of the year, very last episode. Bad time to say that, I guess, but show a little love to the Ghost of Clover channel. Get
Yeah,
prepared, get ready for 24, right?
that's right. That's right. Our goal would we would love to not stream this on our individual channels and stream it only on the Ghost and Clover, but we're not naive to think that our
Hmm.
our audience is going to watch it on ours. So we're going to continuously try to drive people to the Ghost and Clover channel. That said, that's why you guys aren't seeing some of the comments, as they're on different channels.
Yep. Yep. So yeah, hop over on that channel if you want to switch midstream here, then you can go ahead and do that. Uh, I guess we can start shifting gears to the second topic again for those that are joining us live that are out there. We're going to give you what you need to put in the chat, and you will be eligible to choose the topic. Thanks to MC for choosing the first topic, but all three topics tonight provided by you guys. Um, last last episode, while everybody is, what do we want to do? Type two in the chat. That sounds good.
Yep.
Type two.
Like two in the chat. How about that?
So type the number two in the chat if you want to be eligible for the second topic. To give us the second topic of the night, type a two into the chat, whichever
And we
channel you
don't
might
mind if they're
be
all
on.
gun questions or whatever. We
It
will
can be
answer
whatever.
whatever,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, totally. Um, while folks are typing two here, since we've kind of talked about EAA already,
Yeah.
um,
And we talked about Taurus already.
and we just, yeah, we talked. I did anyway ad
Yeah,
nauseum
you did.
about Taurus
Yeah.
there. Let's talk a little bit Self Defense Radio Network and Firearms Radio
Yep.
Network. We have mentioned them at the top of every episode, but
Yeah.
let's real quick give those two places a plug, just for folks out there that may not know what they are. I'll let you go ahead and talk about Self Defense Radio Network a little bit.
Yeah. So Self-Defense Radio is obviously a podcast network about self-defense. You've got like the Polite Society out there, Armed Lutherans out there, Gun Freedom Radio, Eye on the Target with Amanda Suffolcool. Gun Freedom Radio is with Cheryl Todd, if you guys aren't familiar with that. What are some of the other ones out there? Riding Shotgun with Charlie obviously is on there as well. Obviously, we're on there and all of that. But
I gotta put you on the spot with the ones.
I'm just lucky I remembered some of that. I probably could go to selfdefenseradio.net and that will
and you will figure it out.
And you will figure it out. But no, it's they're obviously two-way podcasts with they're podcasts that are not only about it, but is about self-preservation, self-defense.
I would say.
Yeah. Primarily 2A and all of that. But it's a good one. And we will be making a move in 2024. We'll probably still be a part of the Self-Defense Radio Network, but we're going to be moving to a different network in 2024. I guess
adding one, maybe.
Adding one, but we won't be exclusive over there, but we will be touting it more, and that would be the Firearms Radio Network as well. So
nice.
There you go.
Nice.
Speaking of Firearms Radio Network, why don't you tell people about what's going on over there?
Well, I would say in contrast a little bit to Self-Defense Radio Network, Firearms Radio Network, while it does run the gamut of firearm-related content from, your regular firearms banter to, review type stuff to the latest and greatest in review to hunting, competition. I mean, there's also some 2-way stuff on there as well. But some of the stuff over there is I'm trying to remember the AR-15 podcast, Spudbusters, the Reloading podcast, Talking Lead, and then don't want to forget, because it's a big one, because that's essentially who is I don't know how to put it. In control would be the right way to phrase it.
Administering it, maybe?
Administering the Firearm Network, or the OG channel, maybe, or OG podcast of the Firearms Radio Network, is We Like Shooting. And everybody's familiar with Sean and Aaron and the guys with We Like Shooting. So a lot of cool stuff over there on the Firearms Radio Network for you guys to check out. And I've really enjoyed being a part of that group and that crew over there. It's been fun.
Absolutely.
All right, so let's draw. Let's see if we've got more than one, and we do. We've got 6 entries.
There you go.
We're gonna get the screen share up here, and here we go to choose our next topic. So if you're out there, if you type 2 in the chat, and we pull up your name here, then please let us know. PDQ, what your topic is going to be. And for our second topic, we've got Rich B.
Rich B.
So it looks like just a couple of minutes ago, Rich B commented, maybe 4 or 5 minutes ago. So hopefully Rich B is still out there. Rich B, give us our number 2 topic for the night. Hopefully, kind of having a little bit of heads up. Rich has thought about what he wants the topic to be.
He said, "Here, that's fantastic. What's the topic, buddy?"
We could talk about here, I guess.
We can, I guess. That'd be I mean, here. Puff, puff, pass, baby. Puff, puff. Here. Oh, that's a different one.
Here. Bueller.
9 times. Be
more like Rich. Topic. Rich.
Oh, snap.
ICE's best caliber and type of rifle for 500 plus yards. I like this one. And since we were revolver earlier, you've been doing some PRF stuff and some other things. Get after it.
Yeah. So Best caliber, 500 plus yards. Can you run a 223 5.56? Absolutely, you can. Excuse me. Do I think it is the best caliber? Not even close. I think that the 223 5.56 is probably the best. I would say to 300, up to 500 probably, but definitely inside 300. That's definitely the way. I would say for 500 plus yards, we're talking about the best, not our favorite. If you say my favorite, I'm going 338 Lapua. Do I think that it's the best? No. I think that what you should probably look at are two different calibers. I'd say the 308 Winchester and the 6.5 Creedmoor. If I had to choose one, I would probably say 6.5 Creedmoor, only because you can reach out to, a mile with it, but at 1,000 yards, the Creedmoor is really a great flat shooting projectile. And the reason why that's important, especially for maybe PRS, is it's going to be a little bit more accurate at longer ranges. That said, I would say for me, it would probably be the 6.5 Creed, but I don't think you can go wrong with the 6.5 Creed or it all depends on what you're looking for. Are you looking for hunting or are you looking for PRS? If you're going to like competition, then there's going to be some wildcats out there like the 6 Arc and some different stuff that are probably better than the 6.5 Creed. But overall, whether it's PRS or hunting or just having fun plinking at 500 to 1,000 yards, I think a 308 or the 6.5 are the two ways to go. That's just me.
Yeah, and there's a lot of stuff in that 6 millimeter and
even 7 at this point.
6.5, 6.5 millimeter, 6.5 range now, and I can't even think of all of them. I think there's even a 6 Creedmoor in there now.
Yes, there is.
So, and I think that the problem when you start getting into that, and it plays into, I tend to think 6.5 Creed and 308. Now I probably lean more 308 because I'm more traditionalist. I really haven't. I got no problems with the 6.8 Creedmoor cartridge at all. I just haven't got the rifle, taken the plunge, went that route. I've shot plenty of them. I don't own one. I haven't. I got a bunch of stuff in 308. 308's always served me well. My Savage Model 10 is lights freaking out, and so just never had a need. Now, I think that one of the reasons, and you didn't mention this, so I'm going to. I think you alluded to it, but you didn't say it directly. Is cost of ammo. 6.5 Creed and 308 are going to be some of the most economical to pick up,
and they're also usually readily available.
Yeah, because they make so much of it, quite honestly. So your odds are you're going to be able to find that a lot easier. Now, if we start talking about my passion or my love or what, I would probably get behind if it was like guaranteed. 500 was absolute minimum. Dude, I'm going 300 Win Mag or maybe even, which I like better than a 300 Win Mag, but maybe even 300 Weatherby Mag. If we're talking about minimum of 500, you know what I mean?
And you
probably
start
wouldn't break out the 50 BMG for that, but the 300 Mag stuff, absolutely all day long.
And you're talking about 300 Win Mag and either whether you start talking about a little pricier than the 308 and the 6.5. Now you talked about 50 B&G, and I brought up 338 Lapua, which are phenomenal. I probably wouldn't bring either one of those into play until you reach out to at least 800 to 1,000 yards minimum. That's just me, because you can get the same job done at such a fraction of the cost. With other calibers. But Win Mag is great. But what I love about the 308 and the 6.5 is they're easy shooters. They're not going to beat you up maybe like a Win Mag would. But I mean, there's some great ones. But I would say any of like the 30 caliber. I think that any of the 30 calibers, which would bring in the Win Mag, the 6.5 Creed, and all of those. I think that those are all solid choices. Dang,
there's something I was I was gonna say about what was it? Dang.
I don't know.
Um, I think it was what Sykes was getting at out there. He says 6'5" is too zippy for hunting. I
Mm.
disagree. And that's why I wanted to address it. It says doesn't do enough damage to drop the animal. Tend to lose them for lack of a blood trail. So there's two factors in that, and 6'5" is not too zippy to hunt with. I know tons of people that hunt and dead
It
drop
may not be the
deer all
optimal,
day, every
but
day.
yeah,
I think it could be even optimal.
really. Okay.
Here's the issue with hunting that most people don't take into consideration, and I get it. The vast majority of people, and I'm not calling Sykes out and saying that Sykes is one of these people. I'm just saying I live in Fud country. I'm a self-proclaimed King Fud, so I know all too well, how people act. And they'll go out and they'll buy a rifle that's recommended or suggested, and they go to Walmart or Academy or Bass Pro, wherever, and they grab whatever the cheapest box of ammo is, and or say, hey, some little 18, 19-year-old behind the counter, hey, what's some good hunting ammo, and they don't want to pay the $60 a box or the whatever it is, and they buy the $25 a box instead of the $60 a box. And so there's two things when you deal with hunting, is your projectile, your ammunition, the type of ammunition, not just the cartridge or the caliber,
Mhm.
and then or the load, I should say, be a more accurate way to put it, um, and then your shot placement. And all too often, I see people around here that lack both. They pick the wrong ammo, and then they absolutely, you know, um, I mean, with the ammo that they choose, they would have to have an absolute through and through vital shot. Getting
Mm.
close and relying on the energy dump to do damage to organ tissue just isn't enough, right?
Yeah.
And that's a lot of what Sykes is talking about. It'll burn through. So that's great if you burn through a direct organ hit, right?
Yeah.
um, then that's great. But the problem is if you're not getting that surface area is not wanting to expand and you're not able to dump the energy of that round. A hot round, provided that the projectile will expand and dump the energy of that hot round, can be pretty awesome. I've seen you talk about 300 Win Mag. I've seen some deer shot with 300 Win Mag at less than 50 yards,
Oh my God.
and it's brutal. It turns them for a somersault,
Yeah.
and that's an
Too much
exaggeration.
energy. Yeah.
Obviously, it doesn't do that, but it completely throws them for a loop. Like seriously, it is like
Yeah.
they got hit with a truck. But that was using a projectile that, as soon as that projectile come in contact with any kind of resistance, it increased the surface area so it could actually dump the energy, right?
Yep. Yep.
Um, and so a lot of people don't know. Like I said, they don't. When you're talking about hunting, they don't pay attention to that, like your old school guys do. But a lot of the new folks, they don't take the time, and they don't take the time. And this was an issue with the 224 Valkyrie, as you know,
Yeah.
still an issue, is barrel twist. So a lot of
Yep.
folks will get the wrong barrel twist, ammo
They
for their
still
barrel
haven't
twist or
fixed that, I don't
whatever.
think.
They haven't, not really, not unless you hand load.
Yeah.
But if you're not careful, you can get a projectile that's too heavy or too light for your barrel twist. That's a whole other topic that maybe in 24 somebody ask, or if we
Yeah.
we think about, we can bring it up talking about barrel twist. But essentially, if your twist um, is too slow, it will not stabilize the projectile, right? So you're basically hitting the animal broadside with it or whatever. That's
Yep.
not going to be optimal. Obviously, you're not. It's not going to expand. You're not going to be able to get the you're not going to be able to get the most effective use out of that projectile. And then if you are too fast,
Yeah.
then you run the risk of spinning the jacket and stuff off of that. And so
Mhm.
what you'll have is you'll have a projectile that effectively won't work because it comes apart. Uh, is the easiest way, I guess, to explain that. So ammunition choice is a huge thing in hunting, and oftentimes oftentimes overlooked.
Yep. Yep. Let me ask you this real quick.
Yeah.
I have some experience, obviously not in hunting because I don't hunt. Um, 30-06 is a caliber that you don't hear much about anymore.
Wonderful
Where
caliber
does
though.
that
Wonderful
stand?
cartridge.
What's that?
Wonderful cartridge though.
Yeah, I just
Wonderful
you
still.
don't hear about people talking about it
Yeah.
when it comes to hunting or long range. Obviously, maybe the newer technology and the newer cartridges have surpassed it, but where does 30-06 stand in your mind?
To me, 30-06 is to me 30-06 is better than 308.
Okay.
Um,
For specific uses or just in general?
given the right rifle, if you're talking about at range, I mean, you're talking about a lot more powder. You're talking about a lot more, it's a bigger cartridge. It can hold more powder. You can get a little more pressure out of it. You can run some bigger projectiles faster.
Yeah.
Bigger projectiles buck wind better. Bigger projectile, it's just
Hmm.
there's a lot of different things. The issue that you get into with 30-06 has been around forever, which
Yeah.
so is 9 millimeter. Look how popular 9 millimeter still is. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Um, but there's just so many boutique, like newer stuff that's come along. But we've talked about this. Without the 30-06, you don't get the 308 anyway, right?
True. Yeah.
So, um, if we didn't have the 30-06, we wouldn't have the 308, and we wouldn't be talking about the 6.5 Creed if we didn't have the 308. So, there's while sometimes we can get frustrated with the question you pose, like what the heck happened to 30-06, it's important to realize that it had its purpose.
Yeah.
Um, but like I said, we'll still get it done. I mean, medium to even larger game animals at decent ranges,
Yeah.
hundreds of yards. Again, with the proper ammunition and stuff. And I'll tell you another thing with 30-06 that's really cool. If anybody has ever played with these, chime in the chat and whatever. Or if you're in replay, comment down below. This is a good one. Have you ever seen the accelerator rounds with 30-06? So an accelerator round is a 223 projectile and a sabot
Mm.
loaded into a 30-06. And you talk about screaming freaking fast. Now they do not make 30-06 accelerators anymore, and you could get, I think you could get 308 accelerators like that too. However, E. Arthur Brown, pro tip for those that are interested that do reload, E. Arthur Brown, last time I checked, which has been a couple years, and I bought a ton of them, so it's not like I've looked recently because I don't need any. But E. Arthur Brown used to sell the Sabos, and what you could do is just get you some 223 projectiles and basically make your own 30-06 accelerators. And if you've never shot
Interesting.
those, oh ho 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 ho, those are fun. Those are fun.
Interesting. Interesting. Yeah. The only reason I brought that up is if you ask that same question that or Rich asked, I'm sorry, probably 15, 20 years ago, I
Mhm.
think 30-06 is it would be one of those
Yeah.
that people would talk about, but you just don't hear about the 30-06 anymore.
Compared to, again, it's a more
Right.
powerful cartridge. So compared to the 6.5 Creed or the 308, I think part of the issue, it's also a long action, right? Which is
Yeah.
totally different because of the cartridge size. So because of that, because of the pressures and because of the recoil, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I think that's why you see more. You don't see nearly as many as far as new production stuff or whatever
Right.
in
Yeah.
30-06.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's a ton on the secondary market, and most quote unquote gun guys have a 30-06 of some sort. Maybe a M1 Garand, but most
It's
or
yeah.
a 1903. But
I was gonna
most,
say the Springfield as well.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but
Yeah.
most quote unquote gun guys, they have a 30-06 sitting around somewhere. So it's still, I wouldn't say it's an unpopular or it's completely lost favor.
Yeah.
I think lots of people still appreciate it. Um, it's just like you were talking about earlier with, is it optimal nowadays
Right.
with some of the stuff
Yeah.
we got? And sadly, the answer to that is most times no.
Yep. Yep. Let's do something. Great question. Thanks, Rich, out there. Last and final question. We got some stuff to talk about after the last segment, so stick around. But let's go ahead and type the number 3 out there in the chat. We'll start collecting those and all of that. Yeah, type the number 3. Like I said, thanks for that question, Rich, as well. Keep them coming out there. But yeah, type the number 3 out there in the chat. That'll get you in the running to be chosen for the third and final segment. For those that are just joining, type the number 3 in the chat. And if you do get chosen randomly, have your question ready to go. So be thinking about that as well. We're going to give you a couple of minutes to do that as well.
Yeah, and I think while we're doing that, we've talked about EAA, we've talked about Taurus. We'll talk about both a little bit more while we're kind of waiting. We talked about the Taurus tracker. As far as the revolvers, the Raging Hunters obviously is where it's at now. And
that's a pretty for me to say this is even crazier. That's a sexy revolver.
They're nice, man, and they look a lot like the tracker. They're a lot beefier and a lot bigger, but the profile, right, is very similar. But yeah, the 460 Smith & Wesson is where it's at. Man, I mean, you're able to run with 460 Smith & Wesson and in the chat, in the comments and replay, whatever. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think with 460 S&W, you can run 454 Casull and 45 Colt.
Well, I know that there are people that I know that do run the 454 in there. So yeah.
I think you can run the 454 and the 45 Colt. I think in the.
Don't get me lying about the Colt. I do not know about that.
Yeah, and then you got the 460, and I like the 460. You brought up, just kind of picking around, but brought up the 500 Smith & Wesson earlier.
Yeah.
I much prefer the 460.
And where does the 454 Casull? Where does that stand in yours? Do you like that?
Man, I like the 460 better.
Do you? Okay.
Yeah. The 454 Casull is, to me, is sort of like, it's like a step above, I guess, the 44 Magnum.
Yep.
And so it kind of holds that place as the 44 Magnum. At one time, the 44 Magnum, we all know the line, the most powerful handgun in the world, take a guy's head clean off, right? Not so much anymore. So
still will do that, but there are more powerful.
But still an awesome cartridge, and the history behind it, and Elmer Keith and whatever. Still a great history, as is the 454 Casull. Right, great history there and everything else. So it's definitely appreciated for what it is. But that's why I like the 460, is because I have the option of also shooting. Because I'm not saying 454 Casull is a bad cartridge, but velocity wise, and as we were talking about earlier, a lot of these larger bore revolvers, there's a reason they call it the Raging Hunter. It's because people hunt with them. And so again, you want a good cartridge that's got a good projectile, that's got enough oomph and energy to expand and dump that energy and everything else. And to me, 460 gets the job done a little bit better. I liken the 460. This will make sense to you because since you brought this up earlier with the rifles, right?
Yeah.
I view the 454 Casull as the 308 to the 6.5 Creed that is the 460 S&W.
Oh, well, there you go. That's a good analogy. There you go.
You know what I mean? Yep. Solid cartridge, nothing wrong with it, but there's a kind of a new kid on the block type.
Yeah.
And imagine if you could put your if you could buy a 6.5 Creed and load 308 and shoot 308 out of it, right? Like, that would be amazing. Right, and that's what you can get with the 460. So, so there's our Taurus plug.
Right.
At least on the revolvers. Somebody was mentioning, I think, a PT92 or something earlier.
Someone was talking about their 92. Yeah, they said that their 92 is badass. And I mean, you're talking. Yeah, you're talking any. I'm not saying all 92s are good no matter what brand, but I mean, you can't really go wrong if you're going to do it right. You can't go wrong with the design of the 92. So yeah,
Mhm.
I've shot the 92, the PT92 several times. I know you own one or multiple. I'm not sure how many you have, but I know that
Yeah,
that's something
I got
that,
more than one for sure.
yeah. So, but yeah,
At one
um,
time, they were fairly reasonable. Academy would put them on sale pretty regular. I think I paid as little as about 250 for one of the ones I've got.
oh, really?
Yeah, like 249.99 on sale at Academy one year. Yeah, that's tell you how many years ago that's been too. But
Hey,
to each their
does Taurus still own Heritage or no?
yes.
So the only reason why I'm bringing this up is I didn't know if they still did. I know at one time they did for actually a long time for about,
As far as I know, they still do.
yeah.
Yes,
Well,
they
and I
do. I
thought
know they
so.
do. I know
I
they
thought
do. As
so.
a
I
matter
just
of
want to
fact,
make
yeah,
sure. But
yeah. I got a press release the other day. So yeah.
Heritage announced a new part of the Taurus International umbrella.
Well,
Heritage
are we gonna talk
announced
about it?
a new coach gun,
Yeah, they did.
which
Yeah,
was
they
funny to
did.
some of us. But
I'm not happy about it. I don't know what else to say about that.
yeah,
I don't know.
they
I
did.
don't know what
They're
their
trying to do a
intention is.
coach gun, but they didn't do it anywhere near the right way. But it is what it is.
And the MSRP, unless that's a typo on the press release, really worries me.
Yeah,
Um, when you're heritage, because I appreciate heritage for what it is, right? Let's be
sure,
honest. And I'm glad you
sure,
brought up heritage. 100 to 150 bucks for something to take out, on the range with the kiddos, whatever, and just have fun all day.
and have a blast. Yep,
And it lasts 2 or 3 years before you shoot it completely out or whatever, and you got to go get another one. You've had that much fun, you're not worried
you got
about it,
your
right?
money's worth. Yep.
So Heritage has kind of built their name on that. And Heritage was FIE before it was ever Heritage, or FIE was importing the Heritage stuff before it became Heritage. So they've been around a long time. Same
Yeah.
thing, very budget minded, just they're fun guns, right?
Sure.
And so to move into now this shotgun that is high end,
Price is a mid-level, high end.
I
Yeah.
mean, mid to high end shotgun is like, ooh, I don't know what they're it's going to be an interesting conversation at shot. Like I said, I
Yeah.
don't want to talk bad about it. I don't want to knock them because I haven't
Yeah.
had that conversation. Maybe they've got a demographic out there. Maybe they've got their ideas of how they're going to market it and what they're going to do. But as a
Yeah.
creator, like if they was to say, call me up and go, hey, we've got the new shotgun, blah blah blah. Do you want to, you want us to get you one? Do you want to review it? Well, my initial response is, heck yeah, right? Like that's
Sure.
my
Yeah.
initial response. Like I'm not gonna turn that down. But then if I think about it for a minute, which is
Hashtag will
most
shill for anyone.
right. But if I think about it for a minute, which is most people out there that know me know that I'm this way, I'm really big on our role as a creator is to help promote the industry. We're here to assist the industry and help the industry. And so I've got to ask myself, how can I help them when I've had so much, budget minded heritage stuff on the channel and now I've completely shifted gears into some high end heritage stuff, right?
Well, you
Like,
can help them by saying this isn't. Let's assume that it might not be worth that price tag. You can help them by telling them that, or telling them, "Hey, why are y'all getting away from the bread and butter? What people know heritage to be?
right,
I don't know.
right.
I don't know.
Hmm.
Being honest with them
And that's the
is
thing is we don't know at this point. We haven't had that conversation with
it's
them.
like
So
says, damn, $900 exactly. Yeah,
yeah, we weren't going to say it, but yeah, there you go.
yeah.
Let's draw, man.
Real quick. Yeah, real quick. There's some more people that just showed up that are new out there that haven't been here, not new, but haven't been here earlier.
Oh, they did.
We're getting ready to go into the third topic. So I'm going to give everybody a few seconds. If you want to be chosen or in the running for it, type the number 3 in the chat. That's all you got to do. Type the number 3 and you'll be eligible for the last. Mario's got a good question. Mario, type number 3. And if you get chosen, we can talk about that.
We will do it. Yeah. And by the way, thanks to MC, who was our first topic tonight.
Yep.
All 3 topics provided by you folks out there. And then who was number 2? Was that Sykes?
Rich B. Rich
B's who that was. Yeah,
Rich
B
B.
was number 2. Yeah. So thanks to those
Yes,
guys.
is he kin to Mel B from the Spice Girls?
I don't know.
Maybe Mel B's brother, possibly son.
That could be interesting.
Mel B was a good looking woman.
Tell you what I want, what I really, really want. Tell you what.
Yeah, exactly. I want a hit.
Not
I
a
want a
heritage
hit. I want a hit.
shotgun.
I want a Heritage shotgun for $900.
If you want to be
All
my
right.
shotgun. Yeah.
Let's Rich says, I wish. Yeah, right. No kidding. Let's spin that wheel. Let's spin that
Spin
wheel. No
that
whammies.
wheel. No
No
whammies and all
whammies.
that. Here we go. Um, get us your topic. Hopefully you've given it some thought. You got them on deck. And we don't have a whammy. And we have a
Okay,
whammy. So let's
spin it again. We have a whammy. Spin that.
whammy. I got to find my mouse before
DJ,
that gets
spin
wrong.
that thing.
Spin that. DJ revolves it, huh? Basically.
That's right. That's right.
So
Screaming
Screaming
Skull Saloon.
Triple S gets the final topic of the night here. Now stick around because we've got a pretty major announcement.
We do.
We're going to talk about it a little bit before we close the show. Something really exciting. Obviously, this is the last episode of 2023, and we'll see you again for the podcast season anyway, sometime probably in February. But um, in between now and then, there's something interesting we've got cooking. So Triple S
That's a
has the
good one.
topic. So here we go. Thank you for that, Triple S. First aid trauma kit for range bag, and what do you keep inside of it?
That's a great
Mario's, though, more interested.
Yeah.
What was Mario's?
Mario was talking about polymer AR-15.
So let's do
the first aid. I like that.
Let's do this.
No offense, Mario, but this is a better topic.
Man. So I'll tell you what I have for like the primary is the My Medic.
Uh-huh.
Man, which one is it? Man, I can't remember. I'm gonna go look. Just simply because I can and whatever. The my FAK, the MyFAC.
Oh, okay.
Now I've got there's like an advanced version. There's a couple different versions of it, and I've got the pro version is what I've got. So I got the pro version of the MyFAC.
Okay, I got you.
And that thing comes with just a ton of stuff. It comes with medications, scissors. You customize it with the pro. I want to say with the tourniquet. You've got the tourniquet. You've got the compression gauze. You've got all of the trauma related quick clot. And that's kind of what you get.
Sure.
You've got the basic MyFAC, and I'm pimping My Medic here, but I think you know those guys pretty well too.
Absolutely, yeah.
So they've got good stuff. But
I've got one of the My Medics. I'm not sure which one it is, but I've got one.
Yeah, well, the MyFAC is what I've got, and that's the MyFAC Pro. So the difference between MyFAC,
I think it's my MyFAC. I think it's what I don't have the Pro, but I think I have like the original MyFAC.
Yeah, the Pro has the trauma related stuff in it.
Gotcha.
That's the difference. It's also more expensive. But that's why it comes with a tourniquet. It comes with all the trauma stuff. So as far as the range and all, now I have a little personal, smaller setup with a tourniquet and a few extra things, right? But as far as the range, the one that you see in the background on videos a lot, stuff like that. You got a tourniquet, you got the quick clots, you've got the compression gauze, you've got medications, scissors, sting kit. Man, it's just that MyFAC is full of stuff. And the cool thing about My Medic is everything is individually packaged according to the need. Not every item, right? But like your Band-Aids, for example, are all in one little zip bag. Your anything for like bee stings or whatever, or mosquitoes, are all in one little bag. Like your, trying to think, the thermometer, there's a couple other like tools like that, I can't remember what, are in one little bag. So everything is kind of individually compartmentalized. And if you go to the site and look at it, it's pretty neat. And those bags are color coded as well.
There you go.
So like once you kind of learn what's what, makes it really easy to discern and go through and grab that stuff.
Yeah.
And they also sell the individual packets. So let's say that you do have some type of unfortunate, hopefully not a catastrophic, horrible accident.
Sure.
But let's say that you use up something out of your MyFAC. You
Mm.
can jump on the website and just spend 10, $15, whatever, right?
Right.
And replace that one packet of whatever that stuff is, which is pretty neat.
Absolutely. Yeah. I've got many of them. Obviously I have a MyFac, and I've got a couple from like North American. I mean, who doesn't have North American? Kind of the OG. But my favorite and the one that is going to be in my go bag or in the truck most of the time, it's from a company. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's coming from Dark Angel, and I'm really a big fan of the Dark Angel, and it's called the EDC Trauma Kit. It's basically an IFAC, a first aid kit with an attached trauma kit with it, which comes with a couple different types of tourniquets, some scissors. You've got the what do you call it? The chest seals. You've got the clotting gauze.
Right.
Oh hell, I can just go over here to the thing real quick. Compression bandages. But yeah, it's kind of an IFAC with the trauma attached to it,
Right.
kind of an insert, and all of
Similar
that.
to what
But
I'm talking about.
it's
Just
exactly
more,
right. Yeah,
yeah,
it's not just a trauma kit. It's an
all
IFAC
inclusive.
plus a trauma. Yeah. No, I'm not gonna lie. It's it's about $100, maybe a little bit more than $100.
Oh yeah,
But
it's
it's
closer
worth
to
it.
200
Yeah,
for the My Medic,
yeah.
the pro version. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember that the Dark Angel was that way too, but you're getting basically two. You're getting an IFAC and a trauma kit all together, and all of that, and then you
Yep.
can add different things to them if you want, obviously from their website. But yeah, I enjoy that. Like I said, North American's great. The MyFac stuff is great.
And it's
Um,
and
Go
it's
ahead.
trusted stuff, right? So like
Oh yeah,
for years, and Mario's got a good question out there. We'll get to it. It's on this
yeah,
topic here in a
yeah.
second. But for years, I kind of had my own. I kept my own kits built.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I've learned that with the way that most of these companies, if it's a reputable company, and it sounds like Dark Angel is that way,
Yeah.
or My Medic, with the way that they package their stuff, it lasts longer. That's what I got to like just simple band-aids, for example, right? You get, a box of band-aids, a package of band-aids at Walgreens, at CVS, at Walmart,
Mm-hmm.
wherever, right? And put them in your own. And in a few months, between the moisture that you get, the humidity, and the other stuff, like they're
Yeah.
worthless. They're
Yeah.
worthless. I could go pull my MyFac out right now, unzip one of those little packages, pull a band-aid out, and I can guarantee you that MyFac is that individual packet in there it came with a MyFac. I don't even know how many years ago now, and I would 100% guarantee that Band-Aid's going to stick.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
that speaks to the quality of the products that are in those packaging, that package or that set or kit, and also the care that's taken in making that stuff last as long as it possibly can.
Mm-hmm.
And when that's unfortunately that's built into the price when you see, oh man, it's $200, for this med kit with the trauma kit add-on or whatever, and
Yeah.
I can get this one over here for $80. Well, yeah, you can,
Right.
but is
Yeah.
that stuff going to be worth a crap in 6 months? That's the
Yeah.
problem.
And I know that we're going to talk about here in a second, but we're talking about tourniquets.
Yeah, let's go ahead. Yeah.
Um, I appreciate the fact that people are, and I've been carrying, I know you do too. Tourniquets are very important to always have around you. I don't know how many tourniquets I have throughout the house, the cars, and all of that. They're great to have around, but please don't go buy the 6-pack of tourniquets on Amazon for $10. Um, just because you can get more of them for cheaper doesn't mean that they're actually going to be willing to spend a little bit more for some tourniquets that actually might work and not break. I'm not saying to go spend a ton of money, but you see the 6-packs for like $10 on Amazon. You're like,
Oh yeah.
I don't know if I trust that or not.
Yeah. Now, do you go cat or rat?
I have both.
Yeah.
I
That's
have
your
like
one
on my
too.
battle rifle, I have a rat. It's
Right.
on there. I prefer cat because that's
Mhm.
how I learned about tourniquets in the Marine Corps were cat
Right.
tourniquets.
Right.
Combat application. You have the rapid application, which is the rat, which they're fine. They're fine. I personally prefer cat for multiple reasons. And we've talked about this many times on different podcasts, but if I'm going to carry a tourniquet on my person, it's meant for me. No offense. Now, will I use it if someone desperately needs it? Yes, but that tourniquet's meant for me. If I need it and someone helps me, they can find a tourniquet. And a cat tourniquet for me is much easier to manipulate one-handed in that situation than a rat. So I'm more of a fan of the cat tourniquet. I have both, but if I had to choose, I think it's almost hands down for me, the cat tourniquet most definitely.
So I'm going to throw another one in here now.
Sure.
As far as what I prefer,
sure.
I'm with you. I prefer the cat.
Yeah.
The MyFac from My Medic MyFac Pro comes with a rat.
Yeah.
I, however, have a cat in there along with my rat.
Sure. Sure.
You know, 2 is 1, 1 is none, right? But anyway, there's plenty of room in there to add stuff. I've also got in there a third tourniquet, which is the SWAT T.
Oh yeah, sure, yeah.
And those are the rubber ones for those that and they're not the best, and they're a little bit difficult to maneuver and handle, and to take some practice and learning how to use them and other things.
Yeah.
But as far as the space they take up, that's the wonderful thing about that. I'd rather somebody have one that's a little difficult to use and be in a packaging and a configuration that's easier for them to carry where they do carry it. It's kind of like the same thing with a concealed carry handgun, right? Like, I'd rather you have what you're going to carry than nothing at all, because nothing's comfortable, right?
Yeah.
And I feel the same way about a tourniquet, and that's the SWAT T is definitely not on the top of my list for a tourniquet. I get that. But if nothing else, and it's that season, and they're fairly economically priced, not 10 for $20 or whatever you were talking about on Amazon, but I think a 2-pack is maybe $25 or $30 or something.
Yeah, that's not bad.
They make good stocking stuffers, those dudes.
Well, and you talk about the SWAT tourniquet and all of that. And I'll use this analogy. A lot of people in that self-defense, that concealed carry, they talk about, I'm going to use my handgun to get to my rifle, to my house or my truck or whatever. Utilize my handgun until I get to the rifle. Utilize this. If you don't have a rat or a cat tourniquet, but you do have the elastic bandage or the SWAT tourniquet, whatever you want to call it, it can help. Utilize it until maybe you can get to another kind of a tourniquet or whatever,
How many people have saved lives with the sleeve off a shirt?
Absolutely.
And a stick.
Absolutely.
Seriously.
Yep. Absolutely.
And a stick.
Yeah.
So, to say that this won't work or that won't work. Now, are you going to damage tissue? Are you going to, could they potentially lose a limb or do something like that?
But you're going to live.
Obviously, but you're still saving a life. And that's the ultimate goal,
you're
right?
You're going to live. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be uncomfortable for them, or whatever. I mean, possibly, right? But the goal is to save the life. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. Psycho there says skin glue. Yes, skin glue to me is even below like the SWAT. Will it help to get to something better? It will slow down flow, and ultimately that's what you're trying to do, is stop the bleed, is slow the flow, right? So will the skin glue work until you can find something better? Yes, but I wouldn't. Guys, you can go and get a really solid like tourniquet for $15-20 each. Do it, and right now you can utilize some affiliate links and all of that different things. You're going to be able to find some pretty good prices on that stuff. Utilize it.
This time of year.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. This time of year, utilize that. Be willing to spend. We're talking about saving a life here. Spend a little bit more. Spend that $15 for a decent tourniquet instead of spending $3 on some skin glue or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, it can work, but you're talking about saving a life. I think you should have all. If you had all 4 of them, then you're set up, right? You
Yeah,
know,
and closing the skin does not necessarily close the wound, and so you could create
no,
an internal bleeding situation that could actually make it worse.
yeah,
You could have organ
that's,
damage and stuff because of that if you're not careful. So,
there's someone
but for
putting a
minor
thumb on it. That's
stuff,
pretty funny.
in a FAK, in a first aid kit, right?
Yep.
Um, Skin glue is, yes, an absolute check. Yes,
But here's
minor
the thing:
cuts, minor scrapes.
even for bigger cuts, I mean, wounds. If that's all you have, will it help maybe get you to something else? If you
It could.
know that you're 5 minutes from home and you've got a tourniquet at home, and what you have is that, then sure. I mean, like I said, under any certain circumstances, anything can help. Like you said, a t-shirt and a stick
You just
will
need to
help
buy
save a life.
some. You just need to buy some time for
That's right.
medical personnel to get
That's
to
right.
you. Basically,
Um,
or you to be able to get to your larger kit. Let's say.
yeah, and this will
And
be. Oh, go ahead.
well, Mario's bringing up gloves up there, and I know we got to move. We got to move along here because
Yeah,
we've got our announcements to make. But Mario was bringing up gloves, and yes, 100%. You need good gloves. But here's the thing, and I've come to kind of realize this: in an emergency situation, you're not going to be able to change your gloves as you attend to multiple people, and
right.
it's going to be too chaotic. I've
Yep.
seen too many. And this comes from working with the volunteer fire department for many years and working motor vehicle accidents and everything else, and kind of seeing this firsthand. Um, if you're trying to stabilize, tend to this person, that person, you're cross contaminating all the time. Like the for medical personnel in a hospital regulated situation, or maybe even EMS, yes. For the average person, and I'm not saying don't. You should have them on hand if you're dealing with a single person. It's not a straight up crazy
Yeah.
emergency
Yeah.
situation or a multiple victim issue. Then that's one thing.
Yeah.
But um, at the end of the day, medical technology is pretty great. That as far as some of the diseases and things with with
Right.
blood on blood and stuff like that you could get. Um, I, and I'm fairly healthy anyway. Um, I would probably take my chances
Yeah.
as opposed to waste time trying to run down gloves and swap gloves and wash hands and clean off. And that's just me, though. Just me.
Yeah. Real quick before we do move on, I do want to mention this is a great time to mention it. There's a lot of people out there that might be listening to this in replay or in podcast form. Um, we talk about this all the time and about concealed carry and all that. That's wonderful. Everyone should carry. I will say this, that you can go and get basic first aid, stop the bleed, all sorts of different trauma classes, typically for free. Most hospitals will offer free courses for first aid and trauma. A lot of EMT companies will offer free trauma and first aid classes. So there's really no stopping you to go and get first aid and CPR and trauma, stop the bleed classes.
Mhm.
I'd recommend everyone getting those done. Like I said, they're
Yep.
free. You at least know how to do all of that stuff. So
Forestry
treat
service,
yourself.
forestry service, and that's usually handled by each state. But the forestry service here will do what they call an outdoor or wilderness first aid.
Yeah.
That does include CPR.
Yeah.
But it's where you trip, you break a leg, you cut yourself badly, various rashes and stings and bites, and how to deal
Yeah.
with all that type stuff. So another option too. Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
Thanks to again who MC Rich B and Triple S for
Triple
the
S.
topics on this last episode. Speaking of the last episode, uh, like we talked about earlier, even though this is the last episode of 2023, and it will not be until about February of 24 till we kick this off again.
Yeah.
We've got a special announcement now for those that are out there. Something very, very cool that we actually got the ball rolling at NRAM this year on.
Back in
Haven't
April.
really been able to say much since, but it's here going to happen here in a few weeks, and it's time to talk about it, huh?
Yeah, we are really excited about this. So during the week of SHOT Show, we'll be doing a live podcast from the Bursa booth every day. So let's talk West Coast time. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of SHOT will be at 3:30 Western, which would be 6:30 Eastern time. In the afternoon, and then Friday will go at 9 o'clock, which would be 12 o'clock noon Eastern time. We'll be talking. We'll have an hour podcast each day live from the Bursa booth, and we will have two guests at a time with 3 different segments each hour. So 3 20-minute segments. Each segment will have 2 guests. We're trying to do something special, and Clover's going to kind of explain what we're going to be doing with the guests as well.
Yeah, basically 6 guests a day, and each segment will be basically an organizational guest. So we'll have, let's just say, a lady from the DC Project or Women for Gun Rights, and then we'll have, let's say, sitting across the table, Chase from EAA. Right. So we'll have one guest that's organizational in nature, one guest that is industry in nature. So, and it will be a Ghost and Clover branded podcast.
Yep.
And another reason to get over and subscribe and be paying attention to the Ghost and Clover channel, especially if you're unable to catch it at 3:30 Pacific.
3:30 Pacific, so 6:30 Eastern. Yeah.
Yeah, and 9 Pacific on Friday, the week of SHOT Show. 3:30 every day, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And then 9 Pacific on Friday. But if you're not able to catch it live, it will be before we get back, before we're able to get the replay and all that up for you to listen to. So if you're able to tune in live. It should be interesting. It's definitely going to be a lot of fun. This was honestly, Bursa approached me just with an idea of us doing a podcast in their booth. Ghost had already left it in RAM, and I was making the rounds saying goodbye when Bursa said, "Hey, you got a minute? Let's sit down and we've got something we want to ask." And they said, "Hey, what do y'all think about doing the podcast from the booth at SHOT Show?" And I kind of one-upped them, promised a bunch of stuff on behalf of Ghost, which thankfully he said there wasn't a problem. But I kind of brokered that. Oh, not only will we do a podcast, we'll do it every day. Oh, not only will we not do it, not only do it every day, we'll do it live. Oh, not only will we not do it every day and do it live, but we'll have 2 guests per segment with 3 different segments for 6 guests a day. And oh, not only that, but those guests will be split between organizations and industry. And it kind of, their heads exploded. And at that point, they were 100% in. Let's be honest, they cut the check, which drastically, severely helped with our lodging, our trip, and everything to SHOT Show. And so, for that, I say thank you to Bursa.
It'll be co-branded. Bursa and Walk the Talk America are in on this together. So
yeah, basically,
you want to feel to mention Walk the Talk as well.
Yep, Bursa and Walk the Talk America, and each day, by the way, Bursa and Walk the Talk America will have a guest on to represent them each day. Yep. One of those 6 each day will be Walk the Talk America or Bursa. Yep. So, and yeah, as far as WTTA, Walk the Talk America, yeah, if you're having trouble, especially this time of year, you're down in the dumps, mentally, you're having some issues or whatever. Great resources, great Pro 2A friendly resources over there at WTTA. So definitely go check them out. And then again, big shout out and thanks to Raphael and Bursa. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, we're gonna try. Like, the reason why we're trying to do the organization and industry is it sounds weird, and it is such a small industry and a small community, but there are a lot of wonderful organizations that the industry doesn't know about. And there's some wonderful organizations that could use some funding. And you try to put together organizations in industry and say, look, we understand that your company, XYZ gun company doesn't have the time to be active in the whether it's political or veteran stuff, whatever it is. You don't have to, because there's an organization out there that can do that for you. But they do need some help. And so we're trying to bridge the relationships between the industry and these wonderful organizations out there that could use the industry's help. So that's one of the reasons why we did the way we did it as well. But yeah, looking forward to it. So check that out for sure. What you got going on this week? Anything?
I've got just gonna be trying to crank out some more videos and get some stuff done. I picked up so the YouTube channel members on my side, and by the way, on behalf of Ghost 2, again, big thank you to the YouTube channel members. But the YouTube channel members on my side yesterday, or was it today? It was this morning, maybe. Got a preview of a not a new one, but new to me, that I picked up at the local gun shop yesterday. And so everybody else on the channel, if you don't want to go join up and become a channel member, you'll eventually get privy to what that is. It's pretty cool. But just trying to get caught up, man, before SHOT. So got quite a few things still on the board for 2023 that probably are not going to get done. And you're in the same boat, I'm sure.
Yeah. It is what it is. I really thought that December was going to be a nice month to catch up and finish up anything that we hadn't gotten to. And then literally the first week of December, like 3 things show up, and I've got another one on its way, hopefully soon. So yeah, it's just one of those things. It's a good problem to have. Don't get me wrong. But December's a tough month to get anything really done, because you don't know what weather's going to do. Plus you've got all the holiday stuff and all that. But we're going to make time. Tuesday night on the Armed Citizen Podcast Live over on Ghost Tactical Channel, we have our buddy Nathan from Mitchell Defense going to be joining the show. So that'll be a really cool conversation. He's a SARC, or what you guys maybe know as a corpsman. Not now, he's not active anymore, but a former corpsman. But he's got Mitchell Defense, would make some really cool rifles and stuff. So he'll be on the show Tuesday night.
Whereas Obama would say he's a corpsman.
A corpsman, yes. A corpsman, yes. The tactical pineapple hunt will slow you down. It will. It's okay. But understand that most people don't realize that I had to wear a helmet as a young child on the bus. So I'm used to wearing helmets. But no, I enjoy wearing that helmet, and I've got some tactical goggles. I got my day vision nods that you guys may or may not have noticed in the last couple of videos, but the day vision nods have really helped my eyesight. I'm not going to lie. And, but yeah, we're trying, we're having some fun for sure. But yeah, looking forward to, Christmas, spending time with the family. Well, I guess from the Ghost and Clover, we can wish everybody a Merry Christmas and Happy Hanukkah, or if you're out there. I'll have my show Tuesday that I can still say all that, but from the Ghost and Clover show, you won't see us until February. So yeah, I hope everybody has a Merry Christmas and
Happy
New
Year in on that too. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it is. It's strange. Yeah, it's gonna be 6 weeks at least, probably. So it's kind of strange to think that we're not going to mandatory care out there. $6. Just keep fighting. We'll do, brother. Appreciate you very much. Appreciate you very much out there. But yeah, what else you got?
I will be in the garage.
He's an angry elf.